Waterjet.
Welcome to the UNCA OMAX Maxim 1530 Waterjet tutorial. This machine can cut a wide range of materials using a high pressure stream of water mixed with abrasive particles called garnet. This machine allows for precise cuts with minimal heat affected zones and material distortion. Commonly cut materials include metals, plastics, composites, glass, ceramics, stone, rubber, and more. Safety. Safety glasses and closed-toed shoes are required around this machine. Safety hazards include contact with sharp materials, contact with a high-pressure water stream, exposure to noise beyond 120 decibels, entanglement with moving parts like the gantry, and abrasive coming into contact with your eyes. Always make an appointment and reserve the machine before use. You may also need to make an appointment to get help with creating your file. Startup is a 5-step process. First, you must open the water supply valve. Next, turn on the charge pump. Follow that by turning on the high pressure pump. Now turn on the table controller's main power. Finally, press this green power button to turn on the PC. The pump's display may state pump faulted below the status bar. If this is the case, press the reset button at the bottom right of the control panel. Pump faulted should be removed and replaced with an RPM. To upload a file to the machine, access the Waterjet's PC, then open your DXF file with OMAX layout. Insert a USB with your file installed. Identify the DXF file you wish to cut, then double-click to open layout. Before you post a design, ensure the toolpath meets your expectations. Notice that there are 3 different line colors. Green lines represent a rapid movement to the starting point of a cut. Purple lines represent the cutting path. These lines indicate where the machine will cut the material. Brown lines represent a pierce point, which are locations where the water stream will pierce through the material. These lines are important for accurate cutting and preventing damage to the material. When cutting out circles, ensure the piercing lines are inside the area you want to remove. In this design, piercing lines are outside the area we want to remove. Invert the lines so that they cut only the areas we want to remove. Now I'm going to add a few tabs. This will prevent the piece from falling into the tank after the cut. That looks good. Now that the piercing lines start within the area we want to remove and tabs have been added, we can go over to the top right corner and select Post. Next, select a point below the lowest green line. Everything looks good, but it is best practice to check for problems. Save. Watch our IntelliMax layout tutorial for more information about the software. Now that the design is posted, go back over to the top right corner, then right-click Post. In the pop-up list, select Open ORD Path and Make. Once Make is open, you will be prompted to modify your material setup. Select the material you plan to cut by clicking the drop-down menu below the material label. For this design, we will be using 2024 aluminum. Next, you should input the material thickness. Since the current thickness is the same as my material's thickness, there is no need to change the thickness. Now that we've posted our design, we're going to load and secure our material to the Waterjet's bed. Use 2 or more clamps to fasten the material. The number of clamps is dependent on the size and condition of the material. Over-tightening the clamps will damage the material. However, under-tightening the clamps can lead to inaccurate cuts as the material is not fixed. The goal is the Goldilocks zone, not too tight, not too loose. If this is the first cut of the day, click the test button in the action row. Select water only, then low pressure. We're going to let it run for 20 seconds. Repeat the test, but this time with the pressure set to high. Check for a thin stream of water. If it spreads out, the nozzle will need to be replaced. For the final test, select water and abrasive, then high pressure. Make sure the mixing tube is in good condition and the garnet is flowing properly. If there are any issues with these tests, find a staff member before proceeding. The Waterjet can move in 3 directions, along the X-axis, the Y-axis, and Z-axis. The left and right buttons move the nozzle in the positive and negative X direction. Up and down move the nozzle in the positive and negative Y direction. Page up and page down move the nozzle in the positive and negative Z direction. Holding shift in unison with the up, down, left, or right buttons will cause the machine to move quickly in the positive or negative X or Y direction. Holding 7 or 1 will cause the machine to move quickly in the positive or negative Z direction. Before you can begin a cut, you must zero the X, Y, and Z axes. Use the metal spacer connected to the yellow sponge to determine the appropriate Z height. Lower the nozzle until it's just above the spacer. That'll do it. Notice Z height reads -2.932. Select the 0, 0 to the left of those numbers. Now click OK to confirm the new 0 position. To zero the X and Y axes, move the nozzle to the point you wish to start at. Below the nozzle position label, you will see an option to zero the distance from user home and the distance from path start. Click on the 3 zeros beside the distance from path start. Now you should see that the X, Y, and Z axes are all set to 0. You can use the Go to Spot on Path feature to ensure that your design fits within your material dimensions. Right-click Begin Machining, then click Go to Spot on Path. Select a spot, then press OK. Notice that the nozzle moves to the selected spot. Since we've already zeroed our X, Y, and Z axes, you can click Go Home to return the nozzle to the X0, Y0 position. Similarly, you can click the green arrow beside the Z coordinate to return Z to the 0 position. Before you start the cut, check to make sure the garnet is full. Protect your ears. To start the cut, click Begin Machining, then press Start. You can look at the display to follow the nozzle as the design is being cut. Now that our design is cut, it's time to remove it from the stock material. I'm going to move the nozzle in the positive Y direction so that I have space to remove my smiley face. After you're cut, make sure to saw the remaining material into smaller pieces for storage. Select the saw button in the action row. Choose the direction you'd like to saw. You can saw in the positive or negative X and Y directions. Measure the length of the material to be sawed. 9 3/4. In the text box below distance to cut, input the length of the material that we measured for sawing. Now we're going to drop the nozzle cover and press go. After every use, refill the machine with garnet. There's a garnet dispenser to the left of number 1. Fill this pitcher with garnet by pulling the lever at the bottom of the dispenser. Push down on the lever to close the dispenser. Pour garnet in the machine's garnet receptacle for the next person to use. Place the pitcher back on top of the garnet dispenser facing away from the water. Allow for your material to dry, then store it with similar material. Throw away any scrap produced from your cut. We have a scrap aluminum and scrap steel bin near the welding bay. Return the clamps to the clamp basket on the left side of the computer. Use a water hose to clear the T-slots. This is to prevent garnet buildup and allows for the clamps to be easily inserted. Before turning off the machine, purge the machine to prevent clogging. Select Test in the action row. Click Water Only, High Pressure for 10 seconds. Select Start. Now it's time to turn off the machine. First, shut down the computer. Now turn off the table controller's main power. Follow that by turning off the high pressure pump. Next, turn off the charge pump. Finally, close the water supply valve.